Let's have a look at a diagram to try and fit on the vegan spectrum where is optimal for healing. What's going to be the best place for you to sit at if you've got a disease that you need to get rid of? So what we're going to draw here is we're going to draw something called the vegan spectrum. Not going to worry about the non-vegans, okay? Because hopefully you should be vegan at least by now. So draw this chart here. What we've got at this end is we've got maximum healing. Okay, and what we've got at this end is, let's call this minimum healing, or maximum damage would be another term that might work well here as well. And what we've got along here is we've got water fasting. Because water fasting is you're completely removing all digestive strain from the body and you can effect maximum healing. However, it's obviously not sustainable. Juice fasting. Juice fasting is the next one because very, very little digestive strain is happening with juice fasting because the food, the juice, because it's the juice from the fruit that feeds you, the juice has already been removed from the food and you can digest and assimilate that straight into the body. After that, it's going to be mono fruit. That's mono fruit island, such as banana island or something. I'm going to put here with greens because that's how I recommend you do it. Fully raw, I guess, would be next. And then after fully raw would be, let's call this high raw. In brackets, I'm just going to put EG raw till 4. Next up will be starch solution. Starch solution. So this is essentially a whole foods, low fat, plant-based diet, but it can all be cooked if you want. And then right at this end, let's call this junk food. Vegan. So that's our vegan spectrum. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to plot this against, I'm just going to draw another graph down here, and let's plot this against healing. So let's call this healing ability, and let's call this, for the sake of this comparison, let's call this food density, because you can see along here food is getting denser and denser as we progress towards the minimum healing side. So these are all going to be brought down onto this chart here. And what we can see is a negative relationship. So there's a negative correlation between these two. So the graph is going to look something like this. Okay? And if you're trying to heal from a disease, the aim of this is to find a sweet spot that's going to be somewhere where you can develop a bit of consistency. So let's say you're an athlete. You can probably sit somewhere around here. So let's call this athlete. You've got no disease to contend with. You're burning a whole load of calories every day. You're getting a good amount of exercise and you're pumping that lymph, which is going to help detoxify you from all the toxins that you're taking in. So you can probably get away with sitting somewhere around about here on the graph. Let's say now that you're an average Joe. Let's say you're Joe Best. No, you're not Joe Best. Joe Best would be Joe Best has got a disease, so he's going to be up here somewhere. Let's say you're an average Joe. You're probably going to end up sitting somewhere around about here in order to average Joe. You can probably get away with sitting somewhere around here in order to detoxify as you go along, where you can maintain the golden rule where your detoxification rate is higher than the rate of toxins coming in from these types of foods. If you're diseased now, so let's say you are Joe Best. Joe Best, he's diabetic, so he's probably going to want to sit himself for the sake of healing Joe Best somewhere up here because he's got a huge amount of healing to do in his body, and in fact any disease. So let's say eczema. Where do you want to be on this chart? Well, it depends. It depends how bad your eczema is, and it depends where the sweet spot is for you. So what do I mean by the sweet spot? Well, let's not forget things like serotonin. This is a hormone that's released when you're enjoying your food. And so you want a balance of food enjoyment, because these hormones are healthy to have coursing through your body too, because it's going to produce those happy vibes, the healing vibes that you want going through your body. So to be honest, any kind of disease, you're going to want to sit somewhere around here on the graph. So you find where your sweet spot is, pun intended, because this is a very sweet way of living. So your sweet spot is probably going to be somewhere around here. Say this is your sweet spot where you're getting good, nice, you're enjoying your meals because you've got fully raw, so you've got a whole spectrum of greens and all sorts of things to have. Say this is your sweet spot where you know that you're going to enjoy all the meals that you're going to have in this part of the graph. Once you've found your sweet spot, what you want to do next is you want to be consistent, because this is ultimately what is going to heal you. When you can develop some consistency with the program that you're doing, the body loves consistency. Once the body gets used to this, once the body gets used to being here, what it will do is it will continue to heal, it will continue to detoxify, you'll continue to get enjoyment from the food, you'll get energy, you'll want to exercise, you want to have fun, you want to live life to the full. And so be consistent, find your sweet spot and be consistent.